Welcome back. This is Donna with Virtual Assistant on Fire. We're now on video 4 of a series of 4 videos talking about chatbots. If you haven't viewed the other videos in the series, the links will be down below to the other 3 videos. In this video, we're going to talk about BotStar and how we can integrate it with Dialogflow. In the last video, video 3, we built out a very simple chatbot in BotStar, and we used a free plan to do that with. Now, in order to integrate BotStar with Dialogflow, we have to have a paid account. What you see up on the screen is a little bit different than what you saw in the previous video because we're using a paid account. So the chatbot we're going to look at is the demo, which is very similar to the one that we built out in the last video, but not identical. You're probably wondering why I'm showing you how to integrate Dialogflow with BotStar. I like to look at creative ways to help solopreneurs and small businesses utilize technology in the easiest possible way and at the most cost-effective level. I have found through researching the different SaaS products that although they all have a lot of capability, they don't all have everything that perhaps somebody's looking for their particular type of business. Being able to integrate different softwares allows you to take the good of the different ones and combine them together to possibly get everything that you're looking for in your chatbot. Now, this video series is at a very basic level, so I'm trying to not introduce too many different things. So that's why I'm utilizing BotStar and integrating it with Dialogflow. Dialogflow is a Google product, so as we all would anticipate, it's a pretty robust program. And therefore, it can be very intimidating to a lot of people. So I want to show you that Dialogflow doesn't have to be that intimidating, and we can utilize some of its power within BotStar. The reason why you would want to use these SaaS products and then integrate with something such as Dialogflow is because the SaaS products are going to give you a dashboard that is more user-friendly to you as the business owner. So let me show you what I mean. So if we come inside the demo chatbot that we built in BotStar, we have our dashboard that gives us analytics. And then we also have our messaging area, our inbox, so we can see the communications of all of our users regardless of what platform they're communicating with us on. And we can answer back, and we can carry on a full conversation. We also have a reports and insights area. A lot of the SaaS products do. And they also allow you to integrate with many other products such as CRMs and different email providers for bulk emailing. I believe the only way you're going to get that information through Dialogflow is going to be a very cumbersome, involved, and confusing way. But ultimately, Dialogflow is going to have to connect to some type of database or another software. That's why I'm showing you how to integrate 2 softwares. They just happen to be BotStar and Dialogflow. So it's very simple to set up a Dialogflow account. They have a free version that we can use for this demo. So let's go ahead and go over to Google. We're going to type in console, dialogflow.com. Takes you to the sign in page. So this recognizes that I already have an account set up. But in order to show you perhaps what it looks like when you first sign up, if we click on this logo, Dialogflow, and we come up to get started for free in the upper right here, it'll go ahead and ask you for your email. And then you would create a password and you would go through the setup. I believe the only way you can connect to Dialogflow is through a Gmail. Not 100% positive, but I'm pretty sure that's probably true. So if you don't have an email with Google, you can go ahead and click Create Account and set up a Gmail, which is free to set up. I'm going to go ahead and sign in with Google. And when you first sign into a brand new account, this is the screen that you're going to see. So it's their welcome screen. And the first thing that we need to do is create an agent. So in Dialogflow, when they say create an agent, that's actually the chatbot. So I'm going to use agent throughout this video, but keep in mind that it is actually the chatbot. So let's go ahead and create agent. We're going to go ahead and name it. So we'll call it BotStar Demo. When you're creating your agent name, you are not allowed to use spaces in here. So if you get an error, that's what it's telling you. Then the default language, So I'm going to leave it at English, but you can see that there's quite a few language choices in here. So over here, you can select your time zone and select America, New York. And that's all we need to do in this area to create an agent. And we'll go ahead and click Create. Now it does take a minute or two for that agent to be set up. And you'll notice down here in the right corner we have this orange box that says looks like servers unavailable. I'm going to click OK, but I've noticed in the many hours I've spent playing around inside Dialogflow, you get that quite a bit. Every now and then it might affect when you're trying to test the bot, but other than that I haven't seen where it has any effect as far as building the chatbot out. So it's probably just little glitches at the other end for Google. Let's take a quick look at the pricing for Dialogflow. So if we come over to cloud.google.com to Dialog Pricing, you'll see that there's the Trial Edition, Essentials Edition. They have several different agents. We're using the ES agent. And for this demo, we're using the Trial Edition. So everything is free. And my understanding is the limitation is you have up to 180 requests per minute on the Trial Edition. And if you go over the 180 requests per minute, you would then have to upgrade to the Essentials Edition. So I think you can see, because I'm talking to solopreneurs, small businesses, 180 requests per minute, that's a lot of requests. So the odds of surpassing that anytime soon in the initial stages of your chatbot probably are not that likely. But even if you had to bump up to the Essentials Edition, it's still only 0.002 cents per request. And then they list out their other prices. So if you were like me, I thought Dialogflow was really going to be too expensive. So I was pleasantly surprised to see that it wasn't. Let's go back to Dialogflow. And you can see up here, we're using Dialogflow Essentials. And if you come further down the left-hand column, you'll see that we're using the free trial. So as we talked about in the pricing, we're using the Essentials agent and we're using the Trial Edition. So back to Dialogflow. So when you first create an agent or chatbot, you get a default fallback intent and a welcome intent. So basically those are templates. So you can go inside each one and you can change the wording to suit the purpose of your chatbot. Now for this demo, again, we're coming in and looking at this at a very basic level. So we'll look at intents. We're going to touch on a few other things here. The features available within Dialogflow are pretty extensive, and a lot of it would probably be best done by someone who knows how to code or understands how it works. Keep in mind, this is on the higher end for the level of difficulty. But we can enter at a pretty basic level, and that's what we're going to do in this demo. I just want to show you a few things, get you a little familiar with what happens inside Dialogflow and what it looks like. First, we're going to come up to the wheel here. We're going to click on the settings. We're going to come down to the beta features right here, and we're going to enable that. And the reason why is because any features that are in beta, you have to have this feature on in order for them to work. So one of those would be the knowledge base, which we are going to talk about just so that you get an idea on what that's about. It does not, however, and unfortunately, sync with BotStar, at least not yet. If you come down to the pre-built agents, one thing you have to remember in Dialogflow, always click Save. So there is no auto save in here, so it never hurts to click the save more times than necessary. So now if we come back over to the left-hand column, we can come down to pre-built agents. Now these are templates, and you can come in and you can view them. And then you can import it if you want to use it. These templates are not like you've seen in the last two videos. So in other words, if we click on View Detail, you're just going to see like a little bit of an example of what the FAQ chatbot can do. And then you can click Import to actually import it in. It gives you a very, very basic template that you can build from. So it's not necessarily a chatbot that's completely set up and you just tweak some of it to fit your business. A little bit more work involved in their templates. So if we come down on the left-hand column here to Small Talk, this is a creative feature here. Google's built out like a bunch of things people type into a chatbot to be funny, test it out, see if it gets an answer back. By default, this feature is off. So you want to come down here to the toggle button and enable it to turn it on. And then over here in the right-hand column is their simulator. So basically, this is where you can test out your chatbot as you're building the features out. So if we go ahead and we grab this saying right here, the response is likewise. So that's one of the programmed responses. So say we come down to about agent. Let's type in, who are you? The answer, think of me as a virtual agent. Now you do have the ability to also type in your own answer to any one of the built-in questions. So I don't see where you have the ability to put in your own questions. You can put in your own answers. So if we type in, well, let's just, curiosity, will you marry me? I know you can't mean that, but I'm flattered all the same. As you can see, these are just kind of silly things that people type in just to see if the chatbot comes back with any kind of answer. So again, that's a feature that's off by default when you create a new agent, and you can enable it by coming into this area here and turning it on. So we're going to go ahead and disable that for now. So we're going to come back up to intents. And when you first set up a new agent, they give you two defaults, and these are templates. So you have a fallback intent and a welcome intent. So let's take a look at the welcome intent. Inside the intents, they have a couple of different features that you can utilize. For our purposes, we're going to utilize the training phrases, and we'll come down and we'll use the text response area. So the training phrases, this is where you put in either words or phrases. So remember, Dialogflow uses NLP. So it also utilizes keyword recognition. So that's basically what this area is. If you remember from the Ultimate Guide, that is one of the types of chatbots that you can build out, is one with keyword recognition. When you're building out your training phrases, keep in mind your customers. Keep in mind the part of the world that you are in, or keep in mind the part of the world that the majority of your customers are in. And those are the phrases that you want to put into here. So you can delete any of the ones that are in here by hitting the trash can. You can click up here and you can type in your own phrase, and then hit enter. You can highlight and you can type over that. For now, we're going to leave those training phrases in there, and we're going to come down to the response area. So these are the responses that are in the template. And again, you can hit the trash can on the line with text response and delete all of those and start over with your own phrases. Or you can just delete each individual line. And again, you can also highlight it and type over the top. So we'll leave those as they are for now. Now inside Dialogflow, we can test out our chatbot as we're building. And they have an area over here to the right called the simulator. So let's come up here and let's type in hello. And the default response is, hi, how are you doing? Which is one of the ones down here. You could also type in, hey there. And again, it picks up another response. Now, putting in multiple responses is helpful because then the user won't get the exact same response back. Again, that's a personal decision. You can have just one response, and you may want to, depending on the type of chatbot that you're building out. So the chatbot that we built out in BotStar was in regards to services. These responses may not be appropriate for that type of chatbot. Instead, we might want to delete all of those, add another response, and say something like, hi there, would you like more information on our services? Or maybe we could put something like, so glad you are here. Would you like more information on our services? So we'll keep it at those two. So we'll come up here to save. Remember, Dialogflow does not auto-save. And we'll come back over to the simulator and we'll type in hello. So we get one of our responses. So glad you're here. Would you like more information on our services? So as you can see, the welcome intent is A, to welcome the customer. B, you can also start directing your customer down the path that you want them to go within your chatbot. So it serves a couple of different purposes. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click Save just to be sure. Let's go back over to BotStar. Now we're going to use the demo chatbot. We're going to come up to Bot Builder. We're going to come over to the preview. Now this is considered BotStar's welcome. So the user has to click on Get Started. And the way that we set this chatbot up is we greeted them and then we gave them a couple of buttons to pick from. But what if the customer wanted to say, "Hey there," or "Hello"? Maybe these three options isn't what they were looking for, right? So this gives them the option to type in something freeform. But we're not set up to answer their freeform text. The reason for that is this chatbot was built as a button menu-driven chatbot. Hence why there's only the buttons that they can click on. So we're driving the user to the different areas and information that we want them to go to. Now the beauty of Dialogflow is we can very easily turn this button menu-driven chatbot into also a keyword recognition chatbot. First thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and connect our BotStar account with Dialogflow. So we're going to close the preview over here in the upper right. We're going to come over to integrations. So as you can see, I already integrated Dialogflow into BotStar, but when you come in here for the first time, this is going to be disabled. And you'll have to enable this in order to connect. And then you would be able to connect via the email that your Dialogflow account is connected to. So I could click on Switch Account and I can select another account. And then here I'm going to load new agents. So what this will do is it will refresh any of the agents. Remember, those are chatbots. And then we can come up here to the default agent and we can select which one we want. Now we built the BotStar demo, so we're going to go ahead and connect to that one. And that's it. You don't have to come down and hit save or anything. We're now connected to the BotStar demo in Dialogflow. Now that we have Dialogflow and BotStar connected, we need to go back into our bot builder. Bring this over a little bit. And we're going to scroll down in the left-hand column. And we're going to click on Dialogflow and drag it over. And we want to make sure that the agent that it's looking at is the one that we want. So it happens to be pointing to BotStar demo. But if it wasn't, just select that one. You want to come down here to the bottom and you want to also select Expect User Response. And then we need to come over to the left column and come into our settings to behaviors. And we're going to come down to this auto fallback. So remember, we have the ability to make a block that's a fallback, meaning if a user types something in that the chatbot hasn't been programmed for, then the fallback block message will appear, so that when the user types in something that the chatbot doesn't understand, then they don't get no response. So what we're going to do is we're going to set Dialogflow as the fallback block. And here we want to click Save. Now we're going to come back up to the bot builder. So now we have our Dialogflow block. So let's go ahead and publish this to update that. And then we're going to come over to Preview. Click on Get Started. And now when we type in hello, we get an answer back. And this answer, as you can tell by this side moving, is going to Dialogflow. Now you're also probably wondering, but you don't have Dialogflow connected to any other block. That is true, because in BotStar, they don't have to be connected. And also, this particular block is set up to be a default block. So it's not part of the actual flow of the chatbot. So it can stand alone by itself. And then if we come down and we type in, let's type in howdy. And we get a different response because we had several responses in there. So let's go back over to Dialogflow. And the other intent that was set up by default was a fallback intent. So let's look at this one. So in here, they're not putting any training phrases because basically the fallback intent is what? If a user types something in that the chatbot doesn't understand because it hasn't been programmed, then it comes back with a response to the user. So they have about 12 different responses in here. Sorry, could you say that again? Sorry, what was that? One more time. So this again can all be changed, and you can type in whatever responses back that you want to put in there. So if we were to type in make an appointment, it comes back and says, I missed that. Say that again. So this particular chatbot isn't set up to make appointments. And also, if we come back over to BotStar and we type in, I don't know, do you sell t-shirts? This is dialogue coming back saying, I didn't get that. Can you repeat it? Fallback is actually really useful because you want to be sure that your customer gets some kind of response when they type something in. If we come back over to Dialogflow, now the chatbot that we built out is one in regards to services, right? So these responses may not be exactly what you want to have in there. So we could delete all of those responses and we can type in our own response. Let's say, I'm sorry, did you want information on one of our services? Or we could put in, I'm not sure what you are asking. Did you want to know more about service 1, 2, or 3? Question mark. I guess we should put a question mark there. All right, so those are two examples. So if we come back up to the simulator here in Dialogflow and we type in make an appointment. Oh, sorry. I didn't click save. Gotta click save. I know. I'm still trying to remind myself of that. So now if we type in make an appointment, and as you can see, it comes back with one of the responses that we entered down here. Hopefully you can see how easy it is to utilize intents within Dialogflow to direct your user down the path that you want them to go based on the structure and flow of your chatbot. Let's go back over to BotStar and go into our preview. We'll type in the same, make an appointment. And we get one of the responses back. And you can tell it's Dialogflow because the block is highlighted over here within the chatbot. Now I want to show you one other thing. Within BotStar, you do have the ability to build out keywords. If you come over here to the left-hand column, they have their keywords. If you click here, you can come in here and you can build out keyword sets is what they call it. I played around in here a little bit and I found it to be a little bit higher level skills than what I was showing in this video. And so that's what prompted me to then go to Dialogflow. The keyword recognition set up through the intents in Dialogflow is just so much easier. You might want to check this out and see if this works for you. Then that way you could just stay within BotStar, within the free plan, and not have to pay the additional to upgrade BotStar in order to integrate with Dialogflow. So I just wanted to put that in there in case you were thinking, well, I'd just rather stay in one software. You can do that for sure. But there's one last thing I want to show you with Dialogflow. So we're going to go back over to Dialogflow and we're going to come to this knowledge beta. Now, you remember earlier in the video, I explained that if you come up to the wheel across from our chatbot, and we come down to beta features, we want to be sure that this feature is turned on because the knowledge feature is still in beta. So if this is turned off, you won't be able to use the knowledge. So we have it turned on. We'll click save just for good measure. We're going to come back over to the knowledge. So this is a knowledge base. And what this comes in handy for, which is pretty exciting, I thought anyway, is you can upload documents or you can link to a website page for a frequently asked question chatbot. So what we're going to do is we're going to create new knowledge base. I'm going to call it FAQ. Go ahead and click Save. So now we're inside the FAQ knowledge base, and now we need to start adding documents. So we'll click Create the first one. This one we're going to call Recycle FAQ. The knowledge type is going to be FAQ. The meme type is going to be HTML. And we're going to use a website page to link to. So I have it open over here. This is a recycling FAQ. I think this will be a great example. So I'm going to copy the URL and paste it in here. And then I'm going to come down here to enable automatic reload. What this will do, I think every day Google will go back out and search that document and automatically update it. So your link to that URL will always be current. So that's a great feature. We're going to come down here and click Create. Now this is going to take a little bit of time because it creates the doc. It's parsing out all of the questions and answers. It's going to parse all of this out into a document. And this is a pretty long FAQ. So this will be a good test. So we'll come back over to Dialogflow, and it's still working on it. So I'm going to pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, so our document is done. And we can come over here to the Recycle FAQ. We can click on View Detail. You'll see how it parsed out the question and then the answer. And I went through that entire document and parsed all of that out. We have a total of 5 pages. So I'll go ahead and click Save just to be sure. So let's come back over to the FAQ knowledge base. We're going to upload one more document. So we'll come here to New Document. And we're going to type in just FAQ. Knowledge type again is going to be FAQ. And the meme is going to be a CSV file. So we're going to upload from the computer. So we're going to click on Select File. And we're just going to grab this real simple CSV file. We'll come over and click Create. Now, this document isn't as long, so I don't think it'll take quite so long for it to create it, but I'm still going to pause the video and go back when it's done. Okay, so it's done saving the document. We can click on the View Detail, and you'll see this goes back to the chatbot we built out for services and some miscellaneous other things in here. So this is a very basic Q&A. So you can see here I got question, question, answer, answer. That's because it picked up the column headers in that CSV file. So we can go ahead and check this box off, come up to the top, and we can disable that. That way the chatbot won't pick up on that. Okay, so that one is disabled. So go ahead and click Save for good measure. Come back over to the FAQ knowledge base. And we're going to come into the Recycle one. So let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm just going to copy this over. And we got not available. Now the reason for that is we haven't finished the process. So we have to come back over to the knowledge base and come down to add response. Now we don't have to put any text responses in here because it's going to pick up the answers to the questions within the doc, but we do have to at least turn it on. So we're going to go ahead and click Save. We'll come back to the FAQ, look at the detail. Now I'll go ahead and paste that question back in. And now it comes back with our answer. So let's try one more thing. Right here we have what is mixed recycling. So what if we come over to the simulator and type in what is recycling? And we'll get the same answer. So as you can see, we don't have to type in the question exactly the way it is in the document. Dialogflow knows that that's what we're asking about. So that's a really quick look at the knowledge-based feature of Dialogflow. And it is in beta, so every now and then there are some quirky things that happen with it. But for the most part, it can be very usable. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what this FAQ bot would look like on the website. So I'll come back over to the website we've been using for testing. If you remember earlier, we put this, so glad you're here, would you like more information on our services? Of course, that wouldn't apply if you're using it as an FAQ. But for the purpose of the demo, we'll just keep going. So let's type in what is recycling. And there we have our answer. Now the colors and whatnot that are showing here, I have tweaked them a little bit on the back end. So you can adjust Dialogflow in some respects for font color, background color, things like that. You can also rename the bot and give it a different name. So you do have some flexibility in there. So that wraps up our section on how Dialogflow integrates with BotStar, and then also how you might be able to use Dialogflow on its own. All that we've talked about is at a very basic level so that you can see that you can enter into some of these softwares even though they have a higher level of difficulty. Oftentimes there is a lower level of entry. So that's what I wanted to show you through this video, especially with Dialogflow. Well, that's a wrap. We have finished the 4-part series on chatbots. So let's just do a really quick review. Keep in mind that the links to all the videos and some of the documentation is below the video. So we started out with the Chatbot Software, the definitive guide. And this led to a series of 4 videos. Next, we went into a spreadsheet with a series of questions to start a brainstorming session, be that by yourself or with a team. And this helps you formulate the purpose of a chatbot and exactly what did you want to put into the chatbot and how did you want to direct your customer through the chatbot. And so from that series of questions, we moved on to an online charting. We created a Kanban board with those same questions. So this is with Lucidchart, and this particular plan, which is free, does give you the ability to share with teammates so everyone can interact on the same chart. And from this brainstorming session, we moved over to outlining a very simple flowchart for a very simple chatbot. One that just consisted of 3 different services, contact information, and maps. So from there, we went into Tidio. That was the first software that we looked at. If you remember, this was the dashboard. This is where you come into when you first log in. And then this area is the chatbots. Keeping in mind that in Tidio, you built out a number of different chatbots and they all work together. So from here, we moved into BotStar. We built out a very similar chatbot within here, and we tested it out on the website. And then from here, we moved to Dialogflow. So we talked about intents, which you can utilize these so many different ways, and these are really easy to work with. We talked about their welcome intent, so this was the template, and we tweaked it a little bit for our purposes. And then we connected the knowledge base. So we built out the FAQ and the knowledge base. And in the process of doing that, I discovered BotStar does not connect to the knowledge base, at least not yet. But you can go ahead and use the FAQ as a standalone chatbot within Dialogflow. So from there, we went to the website so that you could see what the Dialogflow chatbot would look like. And if we go back to the spreadsheet at the beginning, there was a chatbot comparison sheet here that compared 24 different SaaS products, giving you pricing and all the different features. Please keep in mind that at the time of this video, these were the accurate pricing, but be sure you check them out when you're watching the video. And there you have it. I hope that gave you lots of information, a lot of golden nuggets, gave you a lot to think about, and perhaps you might even try a chatbot of your own for your business. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy chatting.